It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. It's Feedback Friday. And this Feedback Friday, yes, the name of the video is Why Intentions Have to Matter. And I'm making a note of that because I came up with that mulling over while I was making coffee. To the person who said, maybe using an outline will help you organize your thoughts. I use an outline for every damn video. I have papers everywhere of outlines all over the place. It's just off camera. I've been doing this for a really long time. You think I don't use an outline? The whole point of these videos is supposed to be, they're not flawless. They're not perfect, because for my audience, high-performing people, profoundly introverted, getting over the need to be perfect is a life skill. And yeah, there's been a lot of helpful suggestions that I respond to, and the person can't take what they dish out. And at that point, their opinion's irrelevant to me. And one guy went so far, he completely missed the point of a section of a video. And when I pointed that out to him, he exploded and said I'd lost a subscriber. And that's literally all I said. You missed the point of that entire section of the video. And he exploded and said I'd lost a subscriber and this, that, the next thing. And it's like, dude, I don't care about my subscriber counts. I don't. I go for quality over quantity here. I've said that again and again and again. It's a deliberate choice. It's really hard sometimes. Because sure, when people start unsubscribing in significant numbers, part of you feels like you've done something wrong. But sometimes you have to say what you believe, even though you know it's going to be unpopular. Because otherwise, how does anybody trust you that you're telling them what you actually believe instead of just pandering? And so the intent of those moments, and you can't always predict it, right? Some things I thought, I'm going to take major shit for this, turn out to be fairly well received. Other things don't get construed in a way I never expected. People are still commenting on the man versus bear stuff we did on Two Women Talking, and somebody said to me, the reason you got such a rough road, and in fairness to this guy, he said he thought it was unfair, but he said the reason people attacked you is you never said that, the team bear just hates men. And I don't believe that the team bear hates men. I believe that there's a lot of fear there. And so I have real issues with logical frameworks that attack people for what they didn't say. Let's hold that thought and do the help support this channel, because this is part of Intense, right? Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. These are two very, very, very important things, especially right now. If anybody's interested, again, the subsidized stuff for Leanna Carey sessions tends to be for existing clients who are paying something but can't afford either the frequency that I believe they can use, or, there's right now, the various financial challenges people have are very, very real. And especially when I find working with men, giving somebody something totally free actually undermines their self-esteem. So if they're paying something and then we top up that stuff with your support, I find that's the way that works best. So yeah, the kind of dishing it out but not being able to take it stuff, and intense are much more complicated than most people give them credit for. And it was a guy named Jeff Pereira I had on It's Not Therapy that I think put it best. The idea that if your intents are good, then the best way to show that is to show up prepared to listen. And your intents really come through in your reactions. And if you're not getting the result you want, continuing to do the same thing that's getting you a bad result doesn't make any sense. And that's how it ties into that whole thing of like, look, sometimes I have to say stuff I know is going to piss some people off. I know is going to hurt some people's feelings because of that greater goal of, if I say something, you guys know I mean it. And also, you know, the getting back to that thing about the man versus bear. And the reason you got such a rough road is you never said that. To me, it's fallacious to attack someone for something they didn't say. In the man versus bear instance, I knew that the bear side that Song was arguing, not because she agreed with it, because she understood it, was the harder side. And I'm not going to throw a hand grenade on the conversation saying, well, people who pick the bear just hate men. First of all, I don't believe it. But even if I did, that's not a persuasive tactic. And the fact that, as it was explained to me, the expectation was to defend men, I have to attack the other side. That's showing up with the wrong intentions as far as I'm concerned. That's a retaliatory thing. That's a lashing out. And I get people going, no, it's not. But it is. Because it's assuming an intent that I can't prove, right? And this happens a lot in discussions of groups of people. And this is something I strive to be very, very, very consistent with. Same way I don't believe, I mean, do some people who are doing the Team Bear thing hate men? Sure, misandrists are out there. But not everybody. I don't even believe the majority. Same way, you know, I went out and I talked to pro gamergators and I did not believe the majority of them hated women or didn't want women to be in gaming. There were a lot of brainworms. And there's a lot of guys now that are afraid they're going to be shunned for being on that side during that conflict. And that is something, I'm trying to choose my words very carefully, because I don't think they're doing anything wrong with that. It's a terrible thing to feel. I don't think it's fair. Even if someone thinks they're wrong, people have the right to be wrong. We're all wrong sometimes. As long as you're not malicious, I'm not going to fault anyone for being wrong. I'd rather somebody voice their opinions and we can talk about it. And that's how it kind of tied into that guy. You just lost a subscriber because I said he completely missed the point of a section of a video. And I don't want people who are going to show up with that attitude. And I certainly don't want people who are treating subscribing to my channel as some sort of weapon against me. So I'm not allowed to say to them, no, you missed the point there. Like, he came at me. I responded. I was less forceful than he was, but I think some people don't realize how they're coming across because they're coming at it from such a position of fear and desperation that they snap. And this whole, I was defending myself. It's like, no, that was a best defense is a strong offense tactic. Defending yourself is, I am not this thing. I did not do this thing. Here's why I actually did it. That's defense. Offense is, you're a bad person and you hate men and you this and all these things in your head that, trust me, I talk to people for a living. And I have for many, many, many years. The vast majority of people may have some prejudice, but they're not looking to hate anybody. Hurt people hurt people. And that hurt people is the major thing that I think we have to address, and we can address, right? The stone cold bigots, I'm not going to take time with them, and I'm not going to assume that any of you watching this video are just a bigot, because there's no point. Because if somebody just hates women, well, then they hate me, and there's nothing I can do about it, right? If somebody hates gingers, well, then they hate me, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's no point in wasting my breath. So I don't make content for those people. I make content for people that are willing to give things a chance. And I do think that because there's so much hurt, and because there's so much fear, and because there's so much shame, people are flinging it around. And I mean, I talked about this before. There's two general types of people. One, I didn't like to have that done that to me, so I'm not going to do that to other people. And I had to deal with it, so suck it up. I'm not a suck it up person, in part because I was a suck it up person. And, you know, I ended up with a CPTSD diagnosis because of a lifetime of just getting beat up and 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 never feeling like I could go, ow. So I never processed any of that beating up. And I was also beating up other people. Stalker Chan loves to attack me for talking about, you know, my youth growing up at Jane and Finch, where I did get into fights, physical fights, and not terribly many, but they did happen. And she uses that to prove that I'm violent now. This is an ill-intentioned accusation. She knows I'm not, because she physically menaced me multiple times. And it's just something she thinks can stick. She's being cruel. She's being vengeful and vindictive. And she's doing it behind fake personas, pretending to be a trans person. Even though this trans person's experiences with me are oddly the exact same thing Stalker Chan says, including the same people in the same timeline. Like, it's so her. In the era of Kamala Harris, say it to my face, this could not have come better, because I'm just getting tired of that shit. And you know what sucks? Is there's an example of, if I was so litigious, like she said, and I went and got a lawyer to shut her up, that would actually be violating a greater principle of mine, which is people have the right to not like me. People have the right to hate me. People have the right to lie. I don't think it's morally correct, but in terms of free speech, they have that right. And shutting her up would violate my personal principles. Because I do know that a lot of people, we don't expect bad experiences to happen to us. So we don't record everything. We don't, and I don't like the whole dumping chat logs thing. The more it happens, the more I don't like it, because things are taken out of context, and framed. and people dump these massive amounts of documentation knowing no one is going to read 500 pages of chat logs. They're going to go, oh, there's a lot here. Somebody must have done something bad. And that's just not true. And so I have to put up with it. And it does really hurt. It really hurts when someone believes her. Or the one that just made me see red was this academic who disagreed with me over Gaza and went to her. You were so right about her. I talked to this guy for years on Twitter, and one disagreement, you were so right about her. Excuse me? Because I don't believe the current tactics that protesters are engaging in is going to lead to less death. That does not mean I like the death. Quite the opposite. The reason I'm eating the shit for that opinion is I believe strongly that we got to do what works, not what's going to make us feel good in the short term. And to me, what works is both sides being responsible for every fucking death. Every single one. Both sides. That's the only thing that's going to bring them to the bargaining table. The only thing that's going to make the cost of continuing to fight higher than the cost of a ceasefire. And I do want a ceasefire. I've just been doing this a long time. And every time people take these hardline tactics, they never work. They didn't work in Gamergate. They didn't work in the last war 10 years ago in the Middle East. They don't work. No one is just going to accept, yes, you're right. I'm a horrible person who loves genocide. You're right and I'm wrong. Nobody does that. They go, fuck you. You don't know me. Bye-bye. And yet, it seems like people, because they feel small and scared and shamed, they don't own their ability to hurt other people. God, I got one guy, the guy who's angry at me because, he was told to stop sexually harassing women in the Discord. And then he left by his own choice. And I said, look, I can't condone this. I can't just keep talking to you privately when you won't stop harassing women. Like, you need anger management therapy, buddy. He's still mad about that. But he's clearly aggrieved. He's angry at me. Okay. The way he's choosing to go about expressing that anger, no, setting a boundary. And that's exactly what he didn't like. And so if you are showing up with good intentions, you will respect other people's boundaries. So don't call me that. Please use this term instead. One of my big litmus tests for talking about the Middle East, the rule we use on the server is please do not refer to, when Trump was in office, America. No, it's the Trump administration, right? Because people are not their rulers. Trust me, there's plenty of people up here who hate Trudeau too. So please use the Netanyahu government, not Israel or Zionists, because there are plenty of people who believe in the existence of the state of Israel who are protesting against the deaths in Tel Aviv. Okay. So that's a simple thing. It's like, please say the Netanyahu government, because I can agree with that. I can accept that. I don't like Netanyahu. I think he's a criminal who should be in jail. If somebody can't give me that, that's a big indication of their intentions. And this becomes very, very important when dealing with these charged topics where people are coming in a lot of pain. And so it will start with a big proclamation like Team Bear hates men, or, women get drowned in validation and praise and men get nothing. That last one's just objectively false. And what happens next is very important. And this is true of any of these big games journalists are corrupt. You know, shill, Polygon shill. That's what I got during Gamergate. I wrote one. The funny thing about that was I wrote one guest op-ed for Polygon. And it was because I got mad at the way they were writing about games regarding the depictions of mentally ill characters. And so I wrote a counterpoint article. And I couldn't control that they didn't connect it to the original article. I couldn't control that they didn't present it in context. I just did what I could. And to me, I wrote that piece standing up for games and gamers. But because it appeared on Polygon, oh, I was a shill. And I was lying and all that. And it wasn't true. I know what happened. And if people actually had good intentions, they'd give me the benefit of doubt. If you actually want someone to listen to you, you have to be prepared to listen some as well. And that doesn't mean let the other person dominate the conversation. And this is the problem with coming into these things from a place of fear and shame, is that it's amazing how many people jump from me saying, you've got to be prepared to listen if you want to be heard, to, well, when do I get to talk? Like, please just trust the process a little bit. Just a little. Just let the person have a moment. And that is the big mistake that happens. I see it a lot in conversations of people just go for the throat and don't let the person keep their dignity. And that is not well intended. I don't care what anybody says. If you actually objectively look at that, that's bullying. That's getting revenge. That's wanting to hurt someone. That is not a good intention. And it's not effective. I mean, Exhibit A, Gina Carano, right? I really think that she could have gone either way. And the fact that she got pushed into the fake loving arms of the Daily Wire, like, she's lost forever now. Didn't have to be that way. And so that, when it comes to intentions, this stuff matters. And it's hard. It's really hard. And my rule of thumb is basically, if I don't think I can actually listen without sniping at somebody or making a sweeping generalization, I say not now. Another thing I do is put ground rules on a conversation, and it's amazing to me how many people think that is some sort of plot. And that, you know, I don't have to think somebody's a bad person to think that a conversation without some ground rules is a bad idea. And that's, when it comes to compliments, when it comes to, I was really surprised at how much the word lie came out in comments of, well, they don't mean it, they're just lying. That's pretty profound, right? Especially when it jumps to, I don't think it's not true, but I think they're lying. Okay, lies are deliberate falsehoods. You know, one person said, happy for you to tear this up though, but this says, it seems a lot of girls will compliment just for the sake of complimenting, the point it's actually a lie. Both, all types of people, some of them do that, some of them don't. You know, think about how many men, God, the number of guys who are super complimentary, especially about looks. You're so hot, you're so beautiful, hey baby, like all that stuff. And then it's like, no thanks, fucking fat piece of shit, bitch. Like, it turns on a dime. They were lying. Either they were lying then or they're lying now. So this isn't just women, right? And this is when you got to take a good hard look at the people you're centering. And this is a big issue in geek spaces of men. Now, let's start with women first, okay? A lot of women in nerd spaces center the assholes. They focus on the men that have hurt them instead of making appeals to the good men that don't look to hurt or use anybody. You see that in a lot of op-eds. You see it in the obsession with rape, right? Instead of let's center the good men and make that normal and encourage that, actively encourage and reward that. Well, men shouldn't need a reward. All people need praise. Hence the compliment thing. All people need, I appreciate that. Well, it should be the bare minimum. No, the bare minimum is do nothing. Just do nothing. Be inert. That's the bare minimum. Every time somebody does something actively good, it's not a running tally, right? But if you want someone to continue to work with you productively, hey, show them a little appreciation every so often. And I'm not saying this is something, I expect other people's to do and I don't do. Everybody who works for me, especially volunteers, I express when I appreciate they've done something. And I hear all the time, oh, wasn't that big a deal? And it's like, it doesn't matter, So, yeah, some women fake compliment. They fake compliment each other. That's why women don't go to the bathroom alone. Because if you go to the bathroom with somebody and everybody starts gossiping, there's two of you getting cut up instead of just one. But this is why I don't hang around women like that. And so, yeah, guys center assholes. So girls center assholes in the discussion. But the men here who center the women who lie, who center the superficial, looks-driven, transactional, out for lifestyle dating women, that is the same thing. That is, instead of focusing your attention on the good women, a lot of things in nerd spaces are about that girl who rejected you, that girl who insulted you, that girl who made you feel like shit. You're making her huge. You're making her your better. Instead of going, fuck her, she may be pretty on the outside, but she's ugly on the inside. You have that choice. Nobody has control over the inside of your head. And I do notice that there's the Venn diagram of guys who want women to appreciate them for them, and like my husband hotel shirt, right? So like I got no problem with the nerd t-shirt, but if you're wearing sweats and a nerd t-shirt and your beard's not groomed and your hair's all messy and you look like you might not have showered today, and you're out there going, oh, women should be hot. Women should be hot. Women should be hot. People are going to notice. Like, if you're showing up like that and you expect women to look like models in every bit of media you consume, people are going to notice that. Oh, but. No buts. Right? No buts. Listen, okay? People have a choice whether to interact with you or not. And I put up on Twitter this week something of the form of being a female nerd is all about, you're the minority, you're this perpetual guest, and listening to guys complain about how women are shallow and don't like them and don't compliment them and don't like what they like. And then when you go, well, this is where I'm coming from on this. Yeah, but you're not normal. Like, that's what it's like. And I think what a lot of guys don't recognize is that's a rejection. Guys being told you're not a real man, we all know what that is. And yet a lot of these same guys will turn around and basically say, oh, you're not really a real girl. Like, you're weird, you know? And I had a lot of conversations with the whole weird thing with the Harris campaign. And I will touch on that because I think it's valid. And I share the kind of unease with that. But think about what you're doing. Here is a woman right in front of you, talking to you, sharing your interests, and you're blowing it. Oh, but she's got a boyfriend. Yeah, but her friend might not. And the friend is watching. If the friend goes to her and says, what do you think about this guy? And she go, oh no, he was an asshole. You're not going to get the chance. This stuff matters. And so again, these people who insist that I do more polished content because they want citations and an outline and all that stuff. No. You guys get me. Okay? I've done that stuff. Not only is it a lot of work and it would be one video every 2 weeks instead of, there's a reason I haven't done any more Zelda videos. They take a lot of work because these videos aren't even edited. They're raw. I have a half an hour most days during the week to go, okay, I'm going to talk to you guys for a half hour and I'm going to make a thumbnail and that's going to go up on the internet. But also, you guys see me unvarnished. So you see, everybody's got some inconsistencies, right? You can't expect somebody to be 100% consistent. And if you're picking on somebody because one time they weren't their best self, well, everybody's going to fail in your estimation. But you guys get to see that I don't result in inappropriate appearance-based attacks. And by that, I mean, this person, I don't like their idea, so I'm going to call them ugly. Instead of, maybe you shouldn't be picking on other people's appearance because you ain't no great shakes. But also, I don't think anyone should be picking on anybody's appearance. It's hurtful. It does matter. It matters to men. It matters to women. We're gamers. None of us is freaking... Who's the big beauty now? Zendaya? I mean, I think Zendaya is gorgeous, but, other people may disagree. And it doesn't matter because different people like different things. And that's the thing you gotta watch, kind of the guy-on-guy social violence, and I'll leave in that. Because I know a lot of guys who are afraid to express what they actually like. Be it big, beautiful women, be it muscular women, be it tall women. Guys who like older women seem to be a bit cooler about that, but even some there. A lot of guys are afraid to express what they like that regard because they're going to be shamed for it. They're going to be treated as weird. And so when you're propping up these very narrow conventional beauty standards, you're not only hitting women, you're shaming your buddy who may like something else. And I mean, I saw a picture for Umbrella Academy, like a press photo. There's Elliot Page, like he's little teeny, and I'm like, yeah. I've been that way ever since I was a teenager. I think I dated one guy who was taller than me. Part of it was, I do get bothered because I've been a victim of violence, especially, intimate partner violence. I did go through a period where I wasn't comfortable with anybody I couldn't physically fight off. And I was quite muscular when I was a teenager, so I could fight off, my fair share. But if anybody, male, female, was a lot bigger, a lot stronger than me, I wasn't comfortable. That's not true now. I'm just saying that that's the way it was. But I also just think, I mean, comics accurate Wolverine and Deadpool 3, yeah, man, that's the... I was disappointed that he was tall. Just because there's so many great guys walking around getting shamed for being short. And I know a lot of guys are expecting rejection in online dating because of the whole 666 thing. And my whole attitude is, guys, fuck them. Just fuck them. Who the fuck cares? It is superficial. And I'm not saying, you know, any of these left-wing cool guy influencers, you know, Hassan Piker, the first thing he went for was I wasn't fuckable enough to have an opinion on Mortal Kombat. Fuck him. That told me everything I need to know about him. The fact that that's just where he went, fuck that guy. I have no respect for him. And I think he's actually a harmful influence on the teenagers that look up to him. Hopefully they'll grow up and realize he's a moron. But fuck him. The people that don't think you're good enough, fuck them. The people that shame you, fuck them. Focus on the people that see the good in you. Focus on the Luke Skywalkers, not the fucking Kylo Rens, okay? And be Luke Skywalker, not the Kylo Ren. Even the grumpy guy who milked the weird alien, right? Like, at the end, he still had hope. And you can't control other people's behavior. You can't control and be responsible and be accountable for your own. And when I don't meet my own standards, I own that. You know, probably shouldn't have called Hassan a moron. It's because it's something of an ableist term. I do actually think he's prettier than he is smart. We'll say that. See, that's kind of a compliment, right? Like, yeah, dude's above average attractive, ugly on the inside. And that's what really matters. It really is. Because especially with women, every woman knows looks fade. We don't want to, especially women who want kids, that whole idea of, okay, I'm going to have a loss of income. So now I'm dependent on a guy who I'm not as thin as I used to be. And I'm not as conventionally attractive as I used to be. So he's going to start going, well, now she's beneath my standards. I'm going to dump her for a better model because, oh, women's fertility. Like, for God's sakes, don't talk about fertility if you want a woman of substance. Don't. But I want kids. Don't. There are other ways of talking about it. Don't. The minute that you start talking about women primarily as baby makers, any woman who wants her own money and wants to pull her own weight is going to go, fuck you next. And that's the thing. You have to get into that mindset of fuck you next to attract people who are also fuck you next. Because the people who center the bad people find each other. And the people who center the good people find each other. So if you're centering the bad people, guess what you're surrounded by? The bad people. And if you go fuck you to the bad people and focus on the good people. And I truly believe the people who watch these videos, especially the regulars, the hundreds of people who watch these videos regularly, you're good people. I truly believe that. I talk to a lot of you. I read your comments. And if I ever push back, it's because, bless the guy who said, happy for you to tear that up. Bless you, dude. Like, sorry if you're atheist. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Hopefully I didn't intend to tear it up. It's like, here's the thing. You're right. A lot of girls will compliment just to say complimenting to the point it's actually a lie, but some guys do that too. So focus on the ones who don't. And, I'm somebody. I don't give a compliment unless it's true. People still think I'm lying. People still think I'm fake. And it's like, what the fuck more do I have to do? Wait, I don't have to do any more. Fuck them. Moving on. This is one of the things I had to learn. If you don't get rid of the bad people, the good people won't be there because you're surrounded by bad people and it's guilt by association. It's better to be alone than surrounded by bad people, because a good person will approach and befriend someone who seems alone. As long as you're not saying women this, men that, women hate, men get no compliments, like, because let's face it, everybody can think of one time they were complimented about something. It's an emotionally driven hyperbole. The emotion is valid. So just say, I don't get as many compliments as I like. I'm going to sound like a loser. No, you sound honest. There are plenty of times I'm honest and I sound like a loser, and I don't care. Fuck them. Fuck the people who dismiss me that way, right? That's what you gotta do to attract the good people. Because the minute a good person looks around and see you hanging with a bunch of fuckheads, they're gonna be, I don't want the clown car. Next. Fuck them. Make sense? Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/LeannaK. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.